Good evening. This is STV News. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga said on the morning of the 8th that it is necessary to expand the scope of the state of emergency issued to the Metropolitan Area 1, Metropolitan Area, and 3 prefectures due to the spread of the new coronavirus infection to Osaka Prefecture and Aichi Prefecture. I would like to cooperate firmly and take action after confirming the situation. I answered the questions of the reporters at the Prime Minister's office. In the metropolitan area, the declaration period began on the 8th. The Prime Minister has stated that he takes it extremely seriously about the infection situation nationwide. I would like to take all possible measures, such as shortening the time at restaurants and teleworking promotion, and reiterated that I would like to overcome the difficult situation with the cooperation of the people. Governor Hirofumi Yoshimura and others will attend the meeting of the new coronavirus countermeasures headquarters in Osaka Prefecture on the afternoon of the 8th. In response to the rapid increase in the number of infected people, the prefecture is adjusting to request the government to add it to target area of the state of emergency and plans to request it as early as the 9th. Requests are being considered in 3 prefectures, including Kyoto and Hyogo, and Governor Yoshimura, Governor Takatoshi Nishikawa of Kyoto Prefecture, and Governor Toshizo Ido of Hyogo Prefecture will discuss on the 9th. Governor Yoshimura told reporters on the 7th, unless you make a request, there is a very high possibility that the infection will explode as in Tokyo, and express his intention to ask the government for additional designation. Both Kyoto and Hyogo prefectures are in tune with Osaka Prefecture. Following the nationwide spread of the new corona, the government had issued a state of emergency in Tokyo, Saitama, Chiba, and Kanagawa. The Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare announced on the 8th that it will increase the amount of assistance to medical institutions that newly secure beds in response to the spread of the new coronavirus by 3 million yen per bed, even in areas not subject to the state of emergency. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga has announced a policy of adding 4.5 million yen to the 3 prefectures of Tokyo, Saitama, Chiba, and Kanagawa, where the declaration was announced on the 7th, and is urgently strengthening the system for accepting corona patients nationwide. The Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare is supporting medical institutions dealing with corona with 15 million yen per bed for critically ill patients and 4.5 million yen for other beds, which will be added to this amount. Minister of Health, Labor and Welfare Norihisha Tamura said at the press conference after the cabinet meeting on the 8th, "I would be grateful if medical institutions that had not been dealing with corona patients until now could also cooperate." Chief Cabinet Secretary Katsunobu Kato said at the press conference on the 8th that he would like to immediately improve the time difference caused by the upload time for data transfer on the internet publication of the official bulletin at 8:45 p.m. on the 7th. The official bulletin board publicizing the state of the emergency to the 1 metropolitan area and 3 prefectures due to the spread of the new coronavirus infection was posted on the bulletin board of the National Printing Bureau. Internet posting was lower than this. In a lawsuit in which 12 former Korean comfort women filed a proceeding against the Japanese government for damages, the Seoul Central District Court granted the plaintiffs' complaint on the 8th and ordered the Japanese government to compensate. Chief Cabinet Secretary Katsunobu Kato said at a press conference on the 8th that he was extremely regrettable and cannot accept it, after being sentenced to the comfort women proceedings by the South Korean District Court. In addition, he stated that he has no intention of appealing based on the principle of sovereign immunity. Under international law, the Japanese government does not submit to the jurisdiction of South Korea. Mr. Kato emphasized, "I strongly urge South Korea to take appropriate measures to correct violations of international law." However, he expressed his cautious thoughts on countermeasures such as the summoning of the ambassador to South Korea, saying, "I would like to continue to ask South Korea to take appropriate measures to restore sound Japan-South Korea relations." On the same day, Secretary General Takeo Akiba of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs called on South Korea's Nam Gwan-pyo and ambassador to Japan to the ministry and protested severely. An executive of the ministry criticized that it is a judgment that is impossible under common sense and international law. On the 8th, JREs revealed to the press the remains of the Takanawa Embankment, which was built on the sea about 150 years ago as part of Japan's first railway line. It was excavated during the redevelopment work around Takanawa Gateway Station, Minato-ku, Tokyo, and it conveys the state of the time, such as the orderly piled stone walls. According to the company and the Minato City Local History Museum, the Takanawa Embankment was part of Japan's first railway line between Shimbashi and Yokohama that opened in October 1872, Meiji 5, and was completed just before the opening. A steam locomotive built several tens of meters off the coast at the time and running on the bank connected the current JR Tamachi Shinagawa Station area about 2.7 kilometers. Known as the railroad that runs over the sea, Maniukiyo e-prints on the theme of embankment were drawn, but the condition is unknown due to the reclamation work completed in 1914. About a century later, in April 2019, a part of the stone wall of the embankment was found during the Shinagawa Station improvement work. Oriental Land Company Limited announced on the 8th that it will move the closing hours of Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea to 7 p.m. It will be applied from the 12th to the 7th of February in response to the state of emergency and the request from the local government. The closing time has been moved up to 8 p.m. from the 8th, but we will thoroughly prevent infection by making it even earlier. In addition, the maximum number of visitors to both theme parks will be 5,000 after the 12th, excluding the admission tickets that have already been sold. Admission ticket sales will stop as soon as the limit is reached. After resuming business in July last year, the company has reduced the number of visitors to about half of the normal number, but it will further limit it due to the reissue of the declaration. It was revealed on the 8th that the SETO, a swimming boy who had been suspended from activities by the Japan Swimming Federation until the end of the last year, is scheduled to participate in the Japan Open held at the Tokyo Aquatic Center from February 4 to 7. This will be the actual battle since September last year. According to people familiar with the matter, he entered the 200-meter and 400-meter individual medleys and the 200-meter butterfly. SETO, who has been selected as the representative of the Tokyo Olympics, acknowledged the facts and apologized after discovering the women's problem and continued to practice individually. Giants Tatsunori Hara received the remnants of Sugano, who was aiming to transfer to the U.S. Major League Baseball on the 8th, saying, "Sugano is the ace of the Giant Army, the main pillar, and I am happy to reliable to be able to fight together. It was in the best shape," he commented through the team. The right arm, who scored 14 wins by marking 13 consecutive wins in the opening season last season, is indispensable for the third consecutive victory in the Central League and the best in Japan for the first time in 9 years. Sakamoto and Sugano are the main players in the fight this season. They will take the lead and lead the team, he said. Nippon Steel announced on the 8th that it will be able to return home by 8 p.m. even if it goes to work after receiving a state of emergency due to the spread of the new coronavirus infection. If you can telework, work from home as much as possible and use flex time when you come to work and avoid using public transportation during busy hours. The target is the head office, steel mills and research institutes in Chiba Prefecture. In principle, face-to-face meetings with outside parties are prohibited, and business trips to and from the target area are postponed. Refrain from moving within the target area and utilize web conferencing. In the Tokyo stock market on the 8th, buying continues due to the expectations for a recovery in the U.S. economy, and prices in a wide range of industries are rising. The Nikkei stock average temporarily exceeded 28,000 yen in the afternoon trading, the highest price in about 30 years since August 1990. It is 28,037.61 yen, which is 547.48 yen higher than the previous day. In the United States, the Democratic Party, which advocates aggressive economic measures involving fiscal spending, is certain to win the presidential election and the elections of both the House of Senate, and the U.S. major stock index has risen all day. In response to this, buying became dominant in the Tokyo market from the morning. Mr. Noboru Kurosawa, Chief of Domestic Stock Division, Dai-ichi Life Insurance, the upward trend of the stock market will not change in the future. The Nikkei stock average will aim for 28,500 yen by March as the excess liquidity market continues. The spread of the new coronavirus infection continued worldwide, and the second state of emergency was issued in Japan. It is a cause for concern that the corona will rage, but the excess liquidity market, due to the large-scale fiscal and monetary policies of each country, will continue and will be a factor to support the market. In the Senate election in Georgia, which predicts the whereabouts of the policy development of the next U.S. President Biden, the Democratic Party won 2 seats and won the majority in both the House and Senate. Additional economic measures and large-scale infrastructure investment by the next U.S. administration are expected. The recovery of the U.S. economy, which is driving force of the world economy, will accelerate and contribute to the improvement of world business sentiment. In terms of supply and demand, domestic institutional investors have been delayed in buying due to the rise in the market price at the end of last year. It is expected that overseas buyers will revive. From late May to early June, the Japan Curling Association will hold the 2022 Beijing Olympics Japan national team deciding match when a team or pair different from last year wins for a 4-man in mixed doubles Japan Championship February. It was revealed on the 8th that it will be held at the Midori Sports Park in WAKKANAI City, Hokkaido. It was decided at the online board meeting on the night of the 7th. Even if the Japan Championship cannot be held, the national team will be decided. It has also been decided to extend the period for suspending the overseas training camp dispatch of the training team and the period for not allowing registered athletes to participate in overseas competitions by 1 month until the end of February. And that's all for today. See you next week for another news update.